Milo, or R.A.P Ferreira, is also known as Milo or R.A.P Ferreira. He is a rapper, an abstract, nerdy rapper, one of the more celebrated in that genre, in that field. He's amongst different other artists of the 2010s, like, you know, your Quelly Chris's, your Open Mike Eagles. He's also been compared to people like ASAP Rock, that kind of abstract field of hip-hop that gets celebrated in the underground but never ever really makes it beyond the underground. But the dedication, the fan base, the dedicated fans certainly are very vocal about these artists, and are even considered amongst some of the best of our time. I've got to be honest, I've always had my issues with Milo. I do think he has some really good projects. He has some amazing individual songs too, particularly Souvenir with Hemlock Ernst, who I actually really liked last year with his album Hemlock Ernst Back to the House, produced by Kenny Siegel, who is also on this album here, taking up the bulk of the production. And back to what I was saying about Souvenir, I think that's an amazing little jazzy hip-hop song with some wonderful verses, just a really lovely low-key sound and vibe to it that made it into my top 100 songs of the 2010s. And I feel like there'll be other people out there too that would agree with that song being one of Milo's best. And if you don't, I'd be kind of surprised, but hey, maybe I'm just a bit out of the loop with Milo's music in a way, because some of his albums just don't click with me at all, especially one of the more recent ones I think came out in 2018. Yeah, 2018. And those issues honestly crop up a few times here as well, which is a huge shame, because I think there was something about this album that I was really on my way to loving. But when you kind of dig deeper into Milo's lyrics, or R.A.P Ferreira's lyrics, you do kind of stumble upon some of that pseudo-intellectual rap that he does that just gets a bit annoying at times. A lot of big words get thrown around without really a great deal of substance. But look, I don't know if I'm just not really patient enough with this. Like, maybe if this was like turned into a story or a film or a book, I'd be interested. But I think when it crops up in music, I do sometimes lose interest quite quickly. What sells this album for me though is the beats, the production, the absolute stellar beats across this thing. Some wonderful jazz samples thrown around here, and just this really great attention to detail. You have R.A.P Ferreira here just flowing over some of these beats effortlessly, and it really just brings out so many fantastic moments, like Laundry. He's swagging over this track, man. He is absolutely swagging. Noncipher too, the way he keeps switching up his flow on that track, god, oh, it's so good. It's a magical moment, I think, where he just manages to really engage you with the way he sounds over some fantastic beats that are just some of the best beats I think I've heard this year. Particularly in the second half of the album, I feel like some of these beats get really strong, with the Open Mike Eagle feature as well. Nice little feature from him. But yeah, some of these tracks just sound fantastic. A couple of tracks here though really do lose my interest, with songs like Dust Up, and then the one after that it really doesn't bounce back until Absolutes, to be honest, which I think is one of the better tracks here too. But you know, Dust Up, man, just his really slow spoken word-ish raps just don't really get me all that engaged, especially when I just don't really ever get that interested in what he's actually saying. I think really he is one of those rappers for me where I could quite easily just listen to him just throw a bunch of words around, and as long as he's flowing well, I actually wouldn't really care about what he's saying, because you know, it does get a bit tedious reading into his lyrics sometimes. In the strangest way I can think of, this is similar to how I would enjoy like a trap album or something. Sometimes, you know, with trap albums where you're just not really caring about what the artist is saying, but if they sound good, you kind of just lazily respond to the lyrics and go, well, it sounds good. And this is kind of the opposite end of that, where like it sounds good, but what he's saying is really deep and intellectual, but I also couldn't really care less about what he's saying, just like I would with a trap artist, which is kind of weird, but it just is how it is. But the one moment on here though where he's on about like someone wrote something on a bathroom stall, and then surprisingly someone replied and they wrote, "What's the purpose of life? Oh, to be the eyes, to be the ears." I was like, oh, it's so pretentious, come on. Luckily these moments aren't really that common. It's really just a couple of tracks here and there, but the hooks sometimes on this album are stellar too. I really love the way Milo throws out some of these fantastic hooks, some really on point hooks. But yeah, like that's the thing, like there's so many fantastic moments, but there are a handful of times where there are just moments that completely bog it down, which is why I couldn't really call this a great album for me, but I do think it is a really strong one. I think a lot of people won't be in the same ballpark as me in terms of how they feel on this, because a lot of people do just genuinely love the way R.A.P, Ferreira and Milo just throws out their wordplay, their interesting introspective lyrics. Like for me, I just kind of want to get more of who Milo is. Like, yeah, he's very smart, very intellectual, but I just kind of want to get a bit more of a personal album, which I think is why I did like that Hemlock Ernst album from last year so much, which got completely overlooked. Of course, it would be a hip-hop album that I rave about and no one else is, because that's just it's just how it is with hip-hop, I swear. But yeah, man, I just got a sense of who Hemlock is. So much interesting lyricism about his childhood and then even about who he is today. So many fantastic one-liners that came through as well. I just felt like it gave me everything I wanted because of how fantastic the production from Kenny Siegel was as well. And this album just kind of falls short on a lyrical level for me. So a 7 out of 10, definitely a really strong album, but I was just thinking the more I listened to this album, I knew for a fact that as the year went on, I really don't think I'd play it as much. The returnability of this album for me would probably slim down as the year went by, because it would just remind me of all the other issues that albums like Who Told You to Think and even So the Flies Don't Come had for me, which to a lesser extent I think that album had. But yeah, it is what it is. I think it is still really good though. I don't want to sound like I'm being negative. I just think because this is currently considered one of the best of the year so far in terms of hip-hop, I did want to kind of outline my issues with it that stopped it from being great. But hopefully you enjoyed my review. Thank you for watching what I had to say. Let me know your thoughts in the comments too. That would be great. Have a good day and goodbye.